this for all people, because all people depend on the earth and the water and the air. We all share it. So we have to work, struggle for this earth all together. We can't just do it by ourselves. So that's just some of the things I want to give a little background of the movement. And as far as where it's going to go, it's up to us. So in this particular group, we want to focus, at least at the beginning, on our young people. And since you kind of brought together a lot of these young folks, maybe you could say something about what you'd like to see coming out of this.
Well, the main thing that I want to see coming out of this is just like how people more like identify themselves more cultural and
Culturally?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have all the cultures come together and
Mhm.
respect each other.
I think also with Native Americans, I've been, I guess, poverty levels, oppressed, and now that, let's not do that. Let's not idle no more. Let's say that's not right. Let's stand up. And, it's like we're changing as well. I'm changing as well. So, not going to idle no more.
I'd like to share something that my father shared with me. There was a young white man that came to my father, and he had went in the military, and he told my dad, he goes, I'm really jealous of you Indian people. He said, I joined the military because I wanted to belong to something. I wanted to feel like I was part of something. He said, I'm so jealous of you Indian people because you guys have your culture, your identity. You have that. But my father mentioned that the young kids today, a lot of them don't have that because it's not shared with them. That's why they join gangs, so they can feel like they belong. So they can feel like they belong to something. And there's all these elders out there that have a wealth of knowledge that's not being shared with these young people. They don't know, the ways that we grew up with, and I think that this is a good tool to bring that to these young people.
Well, at the last meeting, I also offered to be a resource person. I have lots of experience in making videos. Most of the videos that you've seen about in this area, I've had something to do with, not all of them, of course, but most of the ones that you've seen, they're the ones that I put up there. So I have a camera, I have camera equipment, I have editing equipment, I have some lights and some sound equipment. And I'd be willing to share that with you guys if you wanted to have a film component or video component to your group. And there's other people that were willing to offer some other skills. Wasn't your sister wanted to offer her skills in doing hip hop?
Your mom.
My mom.
Oh, your mother, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have her, and I've also taught young people how to use this program called GarageBand, which allows you to create your own tracks, music tracks, and I've helped a couple of young rappers. One was from Sudan, and the other was a Native American guy in Oklahoma. So I have that skill I wanted to offer. Is there any other skills that we have here that we could help young people learn about? Besides bringing pizza.
The posters are a big thing right now. Just making
Posters?
a sign because people will read things in pictures. And so I even came up with my own little folk song, kind of with Idle No More in it. And it's called Oil in a Pan. And it has fried bread, fried taters, fried spam. So maybe I could share that with you guys here in a little bit. It's still new, so it's kind of, it's not all there, but.
I'm in a group at my school, and basically we go around volunteering and doing charity work, and I can bring it up to them, and so we can spread the word.
Yeah. Does anybody do poetry or
storytelling in that element, both historical stories and contemporary stories would be a good way to share your voice.
The follow-up with your comment about posters, I actually have a widescreen printer that can make posters. And I have Photoshop, which I can teach people how to create art, digital art for posters.
Well, then maybe the girls could come up with like a symbol for Oklahoma, Idle No More, or Oklahoma City, Idle No More. Kind of draw a sketch and come up with that. That would be kind of cool. Come up with pins or something.
Melissa's like super good artist.
Well, I also realize one thing we need is a space for us to do some of these things. Does anybody have any ideas about a space that is free or relatively cheap that we can use? Maybe a church basement or something like that?
Is there Indian churches around here?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that.
Victory is probably the Indian church with the biggest basement. They also have a gym. Central Baptist Church also has a gym. But Victory, that's I think Southeast 15th in Bell City. That's probably about the biggest Indian church. Glorietta's just down the street too.
What activities are we talking about doing here?
Just 1 second. Could you start taking notes?
Sure.
Because we need to keep track of all these suggestions and matters and stuff like that. Go ahead.
I was wondering what type of activities are you guys talking about doing here? Shooting videos or taking photos or?
Well, that's a suggestion that I can help with because I have some of the equipment. But it's, you guys need to say what you would like to learn also or like to do, or create. I mean, I have another suggestion. You could probably make T-shirts and sell them. And I have some designs that you could probably use, and you could create some of your own designs. And then you could take them out to powwows and make money to fund some of your activities and equipment. That's one idea. But
The other suggestion, I don't know what kind of resources are available, but, or who knows how to bead or make traditional, traditional regatta gift wraps or anything like that. But I'm a pretty good resource as far as that. I don't like to advertise it, but yeah, I know how to do all of that. So if you advertise, it puts you to work.
okay.
Well, I'm good. I'm pretty good at making dream catchers and medicine wheels, things of that nature. So.
If you wanted to coordinate something like that, I'd be willing to teach how to do all that.
Okay. So a list of resource people would be myself for video, you for, what would you call it?
Beadwork.
Regalia, whatever, I can do any of it. Dan and I do make a whole outfit any which way.
No, my daughter beads too, so she's got a lot of beads.
Any other skills that people have? that want
And
to-
dream catcher for
Okay, your name, give her your name.
Nishelba.
All of those items could be made and sold.
Is anybody good in ceramics or anything like that? We have a ceramics class at Rose State, and the president of our American Indian Association is taking her second semester of that, so there may be some options like that as well to make things. I have, I guess I got these little omelets, amulet. Sorry, it's not an omelet, that's something to eat. Days, but I got this in Montana, actually at the tea store, but it's got, it looks like some of the things could have native things and things like that. I think this would be too hard to do if somebody was into.
We need to start coming up with the designs and like the symbolism of change, or I don't know more, as well as incorporating what's going on now. Like pipelines and sandbar creeks, let's incorporate that, that's local too. Try to investigate and be informed on that, so that inspires us.
Well, maybe this would be a time for you to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing around the pipeline. A lot of people already don't know about that.
Sure, I was also gonna, in terms of like things to learn, things to do, I've been doing nonviolent direct action in defense of the environment for 15 years and have sort of hoarded a little bit of knowledge and skill around how to do things like what we do with tar sands blockade. Tar sands blockade is exactly that. It's a blockade of the tar sands pipeline coming from Alberta, Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. So we've been down here since August was when. In August, these tree sits, these blockades in the woods on this person's property went live to defend this area of land where the pipeline is going to go through. And it's also symbolic in trying to stop the whole pipeline for the destruction it's doing. The destruction it will do down the line to the water in the area, to the land in the area, the destruction it's doing to the people and land in Alberta, and the horrible things it'll do to the frontline communities at the refineries as well. So we've been working with this group, Tar Sands Blockade, and trying to make coalition with other groups, NGO, large green groups like Sierra Club and Greenpeace and things like that, to support us and support our actions. Because historically, traditionally, and big environmental groups, litigation groups and things like that don't support breaking the law. They don't support civil disobedience or direct action. But it seems like everybody in this nation, in this world, is getting on board with understanding the desperation, and the litigation just isn't cutting it anymore, and we need to stand up and fight. And so what we're doing with the tar sands blockade is standing up and fighting, but also is trying to encourage other people to do the same, teach other people how to do what it is that we do, get more people to join us, and then also push these big groups into supporting our tactics, the things that we use to stop this. So,
What do you guys do to stop stuff like that?
all kinds of different things. We, have like civil disobedience where people just sit down and say, I'm not moving. We have build devices where people can lock their arms into them so they can't, so the police can't physically remove them. We build these platforms in trees, 70, 80 feet up in a tree, so that they can't cut down the tree. Things of that nature. We have protests where lots of us go under the easement or under the pipeline routes and just stand in the way. And then there's also lots of things that other people do to support us, like people will come to those events and not want to break the law, so they'll stand there sort of as a media spectacle and show their support for what we're doing and their resistance against the tar sands and pipeline. For those of you, I don't know how many people know what the tar sands are.
No, I really don't.
So the tar sands or oil sands is it's sort of a nuanced way of extracting oil from the earth. It's not. And this is in northern Alberta, and then soon to be in Utah and in some Caribbean islands. But what they do is they blast and they blast and they blast and they churn up the earth, and the oil that's in the sand that they're churning up, they extract out with heat and chemicals. And so that's the stuff that's coming through the pipe down to the Gulf. It's not crude oil. It's filled with toxic chemicals, and the process is incredibly energy intensive. They say about a barrel of oil goes in, or gas goes in, to 2 barrels coming out of the oil sands. So, and when this stuff leaks, it doesn't. It's heavier than water, so it sinks to the bottom. And most oil comes to the top, and you can scoop it off and clean it. This oil sinks to the bottom, and it's impossible to clean up. It's there for generations. And then the chemicals that are in the bitumen, the benzene and other known carcinogens, escape in a gas, and it's basically like a comic book, like there's a gas, circling around the neighborhoods that the pipe has leaked in, and that gas causes cancer, it causes asthma, it downright kills animals, plants.
In Oklahoma, they have TransCanada was forced, needs to complete what we call
history of community organizing that already exists in